As the Union Budget 2026 approaches, attention is turning to customs duties, a key policy lever at a time when India is navigating global trade tensions, renewed tariff risks, and its own manufacturing ambitions. With pressure mounting both at home and abroad, the big question is whether the budget will protect domestic industry or ease duties to stay globally competitive. Customs duties sit at the intersection of trade policy, revenue needs, and industrial strategy. A recent report from Global Trade Research Initiative suggests customs duties now account for just 6% of gross tax revenue and average only 3.9% of the value of imports due to rationalization and free trade agreements. But they remain a critical fiscal tool with limited budget headroom. Over the last few years, India has increasingly used customs duties to discourage imports, promote local value addition, and support Make in India and production-linked incentive or PLI sectors. But the global backdrop has changed. Recent months have seen renewed tariff tensions, including US tariff actions, along with broader protectionist signals and escalating trade disputes across major economies, raising fresh concerns about export growth, supply chain disruptions, and input cost pressures. For India, this has sharpened the debate. Can higher customs duties shield domestic industry without hurting exports and competitiveness at a fragile moment for global trade? In recent budgets, the government has followed a calibrated customs strategy, selectively raising duties on finished goods while cutting or rationalizing duties on raw materials and intermediates. The 2025-26 budget, for example, exempted critical minerals like cobalt for electric vehicles. The objective has been clear: raise the cost of imports that directly compete with Indian manufacturers while ensuring domestic producers are not handicapped by expensive inputs. This approach has been most visible in sectors like electronics, auto components, renewable energy, chemicals, and capital goods, many of them linked to PLI scheme incentives. Industry bodies and trade chambers are calling for deep customs duty reforms ahead of Budget 2026. Trade organizations like FICCI want simplification of customs procedures and fewer disputes, warning that litigation and compliance bottlenecks are weighing on business confidence. Global consultancy Deloitte has gone further, calling for a comprehensive customs duty overhaul, arguing that India's tariff structure needs simplification to align with global trade norms. A new report from the Global Trade Research Initiative proposes a major revamp of India's import tariff and customs administration, arguing existing structures raise trade costs and hamper competitiveness. Exporters, meanwhile, are pushing for customs duty rationalization to protect competitiveness, especially as global demand softens and tariff barriers rise in key markets. That leaves the finance minister facing a familiar but sharper dilemma. Should it maximize revenue or ease trade friction? And should tariffs align more closely with India's free trade agreements or lean towards protectionism? With India positioning itself as a manufacturing hub, customs duties will play a decisive role, either attracting global supply chains or pushing them to competing economies. Analysts say Budget 2026 is unlikely to see across-the-board duty cuts or hikes. Instead, expectations center on calibrated, sector-specific tweaks, aligning customs policy with manufacturing priorities, export strategy, global trade realities, and revenue constraints. In a volatile global trade environment, customs duties are no longer just a tax instrument. They are a signal of policy intent. Budget 2026 may not bring dramatic changes, but every tweak will be closely watched by industry, exporters, and global investors alike. All eyes on February 1st. Can Budget 2026 strike the right customs balance for India?